Hello YouTube, this is Ben from grizzlybeargear.com. In this video, as promised, I'm going to discuss stabilizers for bow hunting, but also, everything I'm saying also applies to target archery as well. So, stabilizers are a tricky bit of gear for me to discuss with a client when I'm setting them up. There's a lot of misunderstanding about even what a stabilizer does. So in this video, that's what I'm going to talk about. The other big thing I'm going to talk about is sidebar stabilizers, also known as the back bar. So I'm sure that you guys have noticed the stabilizer that a lot of bow hunters, even on TV, are now running, that is pointing backwards off the bow. So let's get into this a little bit. Stabilizers are there to assist the archer by adding mass weight to the bow. So it also helps you a little bit by taking some of the vibration and noise out upon release. However, this is not the primary function as many guys believe it to be. So I said that they're a tricky piece of equipment to help somebody select, and this is because they're a piece of gear that many people, especially beginners, I would say a beginner, frankly, may not even notice the effect that a stabilizer is having. So if you are new to archery and you grab a bow off the shelf and you're getting it all set up, first thing that the guy does is put a stabilizer on it and you go out and you start shooting. You're never really going to, I'd say, appreciate what that even did because it is a subtle difference, okay? You don't just, with or without a stabilizer, you're going to shoot about the same for a long time until you, in every other way, have developed your form and have learned how to properly shoot, and you've noticed how much your pin, I'm going to talk about pin float a lot in this video, and that's how much literally the pin's drifting around your target, around the bullseye. That's the pin float. Stabilizers reduce the pin float, so if you're going like this, all of a sudden with a stabilizer and some extra weight, it starts to float like this. So that's what a stabilizer is there for. So again, if you're new to the sport or if you're just buying a brand new rig, you may want to run 1,000 or so arrows through the bow before you experiment with stabilizers, because that way, after that break-in period, we'll call it, or getting used to your rig period, you will then notice what the stabilizer is doing a lot more than if it was on there right from day one. That's my 2 cents, and I say it to everybody, even if it costs us a quick sale right then and there. That's my suggestion, is honestly run some arrows through that thing, and then when you screw the stabilizer on, you're going to go, ooh, I see how my pin is floating less. So what stabilizer do you buy when you're at the bow shop or wherever you pick up your rig? There's a whole shelf of stabilizers, and it's a little bit overwhelming because in theory this thing is only there to do one thing, and that's to stabilize the shot. So which one do you get? The best stabilizers, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many other people, I would say every professional archer at this point is shooting a stabilizer that is a carbon rod. So like a bee stinger, which is the ones that I use, this rod is carbon, okay, and then inside it's packed with shock absorbing beads to help get that other benefit of taking some of the vibration out. That's the other thing it does. Carbon is a great material for stabilizers. This is because it's very rigid and it's very light. So let me explain that a second. The rigidity, back in the day, well, especially in target archery, they were running, in target archery you might have seen at a shoot a guy with a 30-inch or even longer stabilizer. If you were running that in an aluminum stabilizer, what would happen was when you hit full draw, clunk, everything settles for a second. Well, your rod would be out there on the end wobbling for a split second. With carbon, that wobble is significantly reduced because this isn't bending, it's very rigid. Now, I said that the whole point of these, the main reason, is to add mass weight to the bow to help you be more steady. So why would I want this to be lightweight? Well, think of like a guy on a tightrope, and he's using this stick, a circus performer on a tightrope. On the ends of the stick is where he has the weight. Okay, I'm not a physicist, but physics is what's happening there. You want the weight out on the end. You want it far away from the bow. That's where it's going to do the most, I'm going to say damage, do the most damage to help you be more stable. If the weight is in towards the bow, it's not going to do as much as if it's run further and further away. That's why a target archer, again, is using, like somebody in the open class of a shoot is going to shoot with a 30-inch or whatever their, pick your poison, long stabilizer. They're going to use a long one. General rule of thumb is the further out that you run that weight, the more of a difference it's going to make, and then the better you're going to be able to hold on target. So that's why you want the lightweight rod with all the weight out on the end. And that's why carbon is the king, not only in arrow shafts nowadays, but also with the stabilizers. So that's my take. I would go with a carbon rod with weight out on the end. If you are at the bow shop and you find yourself buying that $20 rubber, 4 to 6 inch rubber bebopper, you're getting burned. I gotta be honest with you. If you have it on your bow, I'm not ripping on you because you didn't maybe know until you watch this video, but you're just getting burned. That thing is not doing much for you. Okay, they're marketed as if, oh, here's a lightweight option that will take some of the vibration out. It's like, man, it's why? Like, you would gain more just upping your arrow weight than you will by running one of those little, I'm not gonna name names, but one of those rubber beboppers that just screws on the end. They cost you 20 bucks. People buy them like crazy because it's like, ooh, there's a nice cheap one. It's not doing anything for you though. You might as well have just saved the money and bought a couple more arrows. So there's that. Get a good one. It doesn't necessarily have to be carbon for a bow hunting stabilizer because they're in general going to be under 12 inches long. So as far as the rigidity, it's not going to be a huge difference. If you went with an aluminum one, that'd be fine too. But carbon is the best. So those are the ones I'm going to suggest to you. The best models too have, most of the upper echelon ones that are made well have adjustable weights out on the end. So like on this stabilizer, I can just unscrew my weight. You can see how it's threading off, and it'll just come off. Now I'm screwing it back on. I can add more weights to it if I want. So these, you get a decent amount when you purchase a setup on most of them, but with this you can also add as many as you want. You can get different size weights, so you can totally customize how much weight you're running. So you can see there I've stacked 2 of the larger weights and 1 of the smaller weights onto the end of that. So that's a nice feature. Disclaimer here is that a lot of the manufacturers make their weights threaded to different sizes, so you can't use them on somebody else's rod and vice versa. So if I buy a Doinker stabilizer, some of them will, some of the threads are the same, but for the most part I'm not going to be able to thread on, like, say, a bee stinger weight. That's just how it is. So it's something to keep in mind, is notice what thread size the weights are, so that way you can ensure that you're going to be able to get those wherever you're at. So if you get some off-brand, knockoff kind of stabilizer, there's a good chance that the only way you're going to be able to get those weights is directly from that manufacturer. Okay, if you go with like a bee stinger or a dead center or some of the Doinkers or a Shrewd, a lot of those use the same size weights, so you'll be able to get them from wherever. I know like even Dick's Sporting Goods has the bee stinger weights, Cabela's, Bass Pro, wherever you're at, you're going to be able to get this size weight, whereas you might not be able to get something sketchy. So another reason that that $70 stabilizer might, it's going to cost a little bit more than the $55 one that seems in the package the same, but I'm talking, you're eliminating a lot of headaches by spending a little bit more money. You think about that. That's the cost of like one arrow. One arrow. So just go ahead and get the good one. In my opinion, again, if you're buying that $20 or $30 Doinker, like not the brand name, but like the bebopper stabilizers, those little junky ones, just don't. You're better off just save your money and get the good one after you've run some arrows through that bow, and you will notice the difference a lot more with a good one versus a chintzy one. So They are just there as a marketing ploy to get you to buy stuff, guys. So let's get into the meat of this here. Sidebar stabilizers. So at this point, like I said, we've all noticed the pros on TV and guys at the course shooting 3D with these sidebar stabilizers on their bow. So you might have noticed these backward stabilizers and you're like, what on earth is that guy doing? Does he know he's got his stabilizers pointing the wrong way? Well, this is new-ish to Planet Bow Hunting, but on Planet Target Archery, this is, this has been around for quite some time. So what the back bar does is it is offsetting the weight of the accessories. So on a fully set up bow, you're going to have a sight, an arrow rest, a quiver on this side of the bow. And then on the opposite side, you've got your sidebar. So it's offsetting that weight. Okay? If you were to take this off and have all your accessories mounted on there, this bow's going to and lean to the side of all the accessories. With this, you can get it to balance back out. That's what that's doing primarily. The other thing, I mean, actually, no, I wouldn't say primarily. That's kind of like what it started as. But to me, what I've noticed the best thing about this has been is I'm able to now run more and more weight out front than I could before I had the back bar. Okay? Now, after years of being bombarded with, look at our new bow, it's lighter than it was last year. It's lighter than manufacturer Y's bow and manufacturer X's bow. Ours is, we've shaved another quarter pound off of it. Well, something that is a fact, like it or not, is a heavier bow is a steadier bow. So, upping the mass weight of your rig is going to make you shoot better. It's going to make the pin float reduced. Okay? So, all of the lightweight bow stuff, it's a marketing ploy. Now, for those guys, obviously, who are like out west and they're hiking all day and they've got, a whole pack on and they've counted the weight per calorie of the food in their pack just to try to get as light as they can to help them hike, that's different, okay? For those guys, I understand going with a lightweight setup. You might not want a front bar and a back bar. You might want just, a small, simple 2 ounces out front just to help a little bit. But that's not what, I would venture to say like 90% of us, that's not what we're doing. We are walking maybe a mile to your tree stand. And to be honest, I don't have a single tree stand like that. All of my spots are less than a half a mile for sure, and 99% of the time I'm walking less than 500 yards into the woods. Does it really matter if I had 1 extra pound on my bow? Not for that hike, it don't matter. But if I'm up in my tree and it's a windy day and my bow's getting blown like this, having that extra 6 ounces, I said a pound, but it's in real life it's going to be like a 6 ounce difference, is going to help tremendously when I'm trying to shoot, like especially in the wind. And again, after you get used to your rig and you try this, you're going to see how much less your pin floats when you up your mass weight. So I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I've never had a customer go, I didn't notice a difference. Not somebody that's been shooting for a while, at least. So, guaranteed you want that extra weight. It is your friend. When I'm working at the shop and I seen professional, especially compound bows, professional compound archers come in and I would pick up their rigs, like especially at first, I was struck by how heavy they were. I had no idea. Those guys are running decks of weight. They'll have 12 ounces out front, and then on the back they'll have this much weight just piled on to try to get that mass weight up. It does matter. It does help. So, sorry if you bought that new carbon bow this year, guys. There's other reasons, I guess, that you might want the lightweight bow or a carbon bow, I guess. But in general, the mass weight is your friend, and that's what the sidebar is doing, is it's upping your mass weight. You can run more weight out front and offset some of it with the back. Now, if you just take your front stabilizer and you throw, I don't know, 10 ounces of weight on your front, you're going to release, and that bow's going to go and just fall as soon as you let go of the string, and you're gonna not shoot real well. What you can do though is you can add that weight, and then you can offset it with the back bar. So that's what it's been huge for. Is this something that I think works like magic, where you go, okay, here's a back bar, I'm going to add some weights to it, add a couple on the front now, and it's a little bit heavier overall. Now I'm just instantly going to shoot way, way, way better? No, not way, way, but you do notice. And it's surprised me. It's not something I thought I would, necessarily love, but after trying it and shooting with it for a year, at this point it's been a couple years, I will never set up a personal bow again without a sidebar, because I just don't even know. It's a game changer, in my opinion. So this isn't, I don't think it's a fad. This is something that's here to stay, guys. It will over time become a standard piece of a hunting bow is to have a sidebar or a back bar, whatever you want to call it, stabilizer on there. It is a game changer. You will shoot better. So there is a point of diminishing returns, obviously, with the weight, guys. You can't just take it and add 6 pounds of weight, because this shoulder has to be able, your bow arm has to be able to bear that weight. And so even, like I said, with the pro archers, they have tons and tons on there. Like Rio Wild, he's all lean back and he's got a ton of weight out front. Well, it takes a long time to build up to that. Let's see here, on my setup, before I just screwed around with it, I had 2, 4, 6, 8 ounces total on my bow of extra weight. So 8 ounces extra, and that's what I had. That's the lightest it's been for a while, because I have been hunting a lot, and actually I did go to the mountains hunting, so I was up and down some hills, and I just didn't, truth be told, I actually did kind of lazy out and just wanted, I wanted it to be a little bit lighter. When I'm shooting 3D in the summer and I'm only taking 30 shots, tops, I load it up. I load it up with weight. If I'm target shooting, I load it up. So, because it is a noticeable difference when I put it on and take off those weights, how much my pin floats. Noticeable difference. Because, again, I've been shooting for 14 years, so at this point I notice the difference between them. You may not at first, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I can guarantee you that at some point it will make a difference and it will become worth it. So if you made it through my rant there and you're still watching and interested in this concept, the next logical question is, how do you set this up on your bow? So on most flagship bows, there will be somewhere on the bow to mount a bracket for your sidebar. So if you look here, this is a Prime Synergy Hybrid. Okay, so this is that 35 axle-to-axle Prime, which is great for 3D or bow hunting. You can see where they have it. They put it actually way down here is the threaded insert where you can mount the bracket. I would say most typically these bows have it somewhere around here, facing perfectly backwards. This bow has it kind of in the middle of the riser. On most bows it's going to be facing backwards off the riser. And you're going to be able to take a bracket and put it on. And I pulled out an extra bracket to show you guys what that would look like. So that's like your typical sidebar bracket right there. And you're going to be able to take one of these, and then with a bolt right through there, you're going to take a bolt right through the hole and screw it into your riser. Okay, do not do this if you do not have the threads. I do not recommend drilling a hole in your bow. Obviously. You will void your warranty. No, but in all seriousness, that's where it's going to go. It's straightforward enough. It may be a little bit of a brain teaser to when you first unbox one of these to try to figure out how this thing's going to go on. But that sidebar is going to mount on the shooter side of the bow. Again, opposite from the side that all the accessories mount on. I'm just going to do this halfway. So that's where it's going to be, on the shooter side. So if I was to shoot, you can see where that is. That is on my side. Okay? And then obviously facing backwards. What has worked best for me, and I would say works best for most folks are going to run this very, very close to their string, very close to their bottom can. This is about as parallel to the deck as I've ever run it. It's almost perfectly parallel. What a lot of people like is to actually lean this down. That's where I had it for the longest time, and they get it very close to their bottom can. So that's how that's going to be positioned. I've seen people running the sidebar longer than the front. I for the life of me, I can't figure out what that's doing for them. Unless maybe they just don't have enough extra weight. Obviously, the further that you put the weights, it's going to feel as if you had more weight. So if I have a 12-inch bar and an 8-inch bar, and I only had 4 ounces of weight, 2 and 2, maybe switching them would make this feel heavier and offset the weight of an 8-inch bar on the front better. I don't know why they're doing that. It doesn't make any sense, to be quite frank. If you have a shorter sidebar, you're less likely to get this thing into your gut. I mean, I can't even imagine having this where it was getting close to my midriff at all. It would drive me bonkers, but that's what some guys have done. I would never do that. Also, it would make it less handy to use my bow jack there, also available at grizzlybeargear.com. Have to throw my pitches in somewhere. I'm giving out all this free information, right? So yeah, generally this is going to be shorter than the front bar. They are adjustable weights. This is on the shooter side. The bracket can be adjusted right here on a good one. So this is a Bee Stinger Elite sidebar mount. This is the one I'm using. Right there I could loosen that, and then I could adjust this so this goes down. Shoot, I'll do it real quick. I'll do it real quick. This video is getting long-winded. But there you can see I have now adjusted the angle so it's at a severe cant. Archery word there. Here's where I generally have it. It's like right there by my bottom can. You can see how tilted that is now. Basically what it's going to do is you're going to adjust how fast it rolls, things like that. And it's all feel. There isn't a right or a wrong way to do this. It is up to you. So you're just going to have to experiment. Try different weights, try different angles, things like that. And that's, I mean, just whatever way you shoot the best is the way you're going to shoot the best. So nobody can tell you, oh, you don't shoot better like that. You shoot better like this. You know, dude, I've tried it all, and this one works the best. For me, I just like changing it up. I like changing how much weight I have. I like changing the angle. I feel like I shoot better. There's like a placebo effect that goes on where right when I first change it up, I shoot a little bit better for a short amount of time. So that's my 2 cents. I just like changing it up, period. So if your bow, some manufacturers won't have a place for this bracket. Okay, that happens. What there are is like Bee Stinger and Shrewd and whatnot, they make brackets so you can mount the sidebar off the front as well. So you will basically put that bracket on, and then there will be an adapter to take the front bar and the sidebar into the same bracket. Okay, so that might be the way that you have to do things if you don't have somewhere threaded down here. I gotta tell you, if you own a Hoyt, you're going off the front. So most of the other guys, I don't think any of the other major manufacturers force you to use a front mounted sidebar. All the other ones you're going to be able to mount it on the riser down low somewhere, which is what I prefer. It's what most people, when you try both, if you try it mounted off the front or off down low on the riser, most people like the way it feels when that weight is down low. So if you don't have the option, you don't have the option though. I know if you're not shooting a flagship bow, like most of the bows in like the $500 price range are going to force you into using that front mounted one as well. So that's the way it is. It's not a big deal. I had a Halon that I mounted it off the front for a while, and it was just fine. So you know, it's just something to know though, is that there are different mounting options depending on what bow you have. So obviously I already said the stuff I'm using is Bee Stinger stuff. The reason that I like this hardware is because, let's see if you can see it here. there it is a little bit. You see the hash marks right here? You guys see that? Not too well, eh? Anyway, you can sort of see that there's hash marks. So I can line up those marks and be very precise about what angle I have this adjusted to. The other great thing is that in here, there's little ball bearings, so I can hear it go click, 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 click. And I know exactly when I'm locked into a new position. On a lot of them, it's just smooth, and you don't really know where you're at. Some of them don't even have the hash marks, and you're just winging it. So I can be very precise. I can adjust this to an exact degree that I want it to be at, and that rocks. The other big thing I would look for is that it has this quick disconnect rather, of capability. So on my front bar, I can just twist like a half a turn and then remove it, because what it has there is a dowel that goes into this bracket that I put on my bow. For 20 bucks, you can get that quick disconnect bracket, and then you can just put it on and take it off with like a half a twist, as opposed to like 30 twists if you were threading it all the way in and out of your riser every time. So I'm putting wear and tear on a bracket, not on my riser, and I'm also able to do that way faster. So I can run this 12-inch stabilizer, and it's not a big deal when I'm putting it in and out of my bow case or putting it in and out of a press. The press, some of these sidebars get in the way when you're trying to press it. So it's way more convenient if you have those quick disconnects, and like I said, it's only like a small upsell to go ahead and get the ones with a quick disconnect. So I would go with that. All the manufacturers make a quick disconnect, so no matter what you pick, you can use those. Again, the bigger brands are going to be available in more places, so it's more convenient to get the accessories that go with it. A lot of them are interchangeable, but a lot of them aren't. The Bee Stingers, I mean, it's made by Gold Tip, so I bet like half of you watching this video are shooting some Gold Tip arrows. Well, if you like those arrows, I guarantee that you're going to like the stabilizers. A lot of people shoot those stabilizers, and really no complaints there. Sort of a final finishing touch. I know I went really long with this video, but there's a lot. This is a big topic these days, and I mean, by the time you're said and done, you're going to run $150 into your stabilizers. Now, you'll be able to use them from bow to bow, but it is a big investment, so you want as much information as you can. And I tried to cover everything quickly. If you have any more questions, please just leave a comment, or you can go to my website and send me a message or a message on Facebook. The link to Facebook will be in the description, the website in the description. I mean, you can even send me a personal message on Facebook. I'll answer. I don't care. I'm not that popular. So, the last point was, in general, if you're running a longer bar and a shorter bar in approximately this manner, you're going to end up with 3 to 4 times as much weight on the back as you will on the front. So there's your starting point. I mean, try 3 ounces to every 1 ounce, and then try 4 ounces to every 1 ounce, and see which one works the best. What you don't want is to be releasing and to feel the bow kick back this way. You don't want to release and it go. That's a definite no. You want the bow to roll forward. You want it to roll forward. So if you're kicking backwards, this is bad. This is bad. This is absolute no. I'm not even getting into it. But you want it to roll forward. The rate at which it rolls is personal preference. So I would say nobody wants it to like death roll forward, but for me at least, I want a nice gentle, I want it to naturally tip forward in my hand, because you're using that good relaxed grip, you want it to tip forward. Okay, so 3 to 4 times the weight on the back as there is on the front. Might be counterintuitive, at least at first. You're actually going to have more weight on the side bar than you do on the front bar. So stabilizers, they add mass weight, which helps you. People that are saying that making your bow lighter helps you shoot, that is a marketing ploy, and they are lying to you. Period. They're adding mass weight, they're reducing some of the vibration. The sidebar stabilizers, what those are doing is offsetting the weight of the accessories, and they're also allowing you to run even more mass weight by putting more weight out on that front bar and offsetting that with the sidebar. Okay? That's the gist. For mounting a sidebar, you need at least the one bracket. If your bow accepts it down low on the riser, you'll need that bracket to run that bar back. I would recommend getting quick disconnect for the front and get the bracket that mounts on for the sidebar. Get that as a quick disconnect as well, because it's so much easier. It'll be the best $10, $20 upsell that you ever got suckered into. So go for that. I will link all of these products in the description. They'll be there, as well as a link to my website, which is grizzlybeargear.com, and I will also link to our Facebook page, which is the Grizzly Bear Gear Facebook page. Okay? I really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Please give me a thumbs up if you learned anything at all, or just you enjoyed what I had to say. It's like giving a short round of applause at the end of a presentation. I just think it's a good thing to do, to just give that thumbs up. What I really need you to do is to hit the subscribe button. So that's what I need you to do. I'm asking you a favor, is to hit the subscribe button. That's that. So why not? I mean, it's just a button, you just got to click it, and then you'll get notifications on YouTube only saying that I've posted a new video when I post a new video. There's going to be a lot of videos coming. So please go ahead and do that. Hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up. Any other questions, comments, you want to add something that I missed, leave a comment. Thank you guys so much. And again, you can look for the products, the website, and the Facebook in the description. Have a great day, guys.